Hey guys! Today in class we're going to learn how to add and subtract fractions with different denominators. Let's recall that in order to add or subtract fractions with the same denominators, the initial step we need to take is to ensure that the denominators are identical. Now this is the crucial step, enabling you to always add and subtract fractions accurately. And regardless of the type of fractions they are, whether numerical, alphabetical or otherwise, you will adhere to the same algorithm. So, this is the real deal. Alright, let's start with some easy examples. Well, let's say I need to add 5/8 to the fraction of 3/4. So what do we need to do in this situation? First and foremost, we have to take a look at the denominator. The denominator is 8 and 4. These are different denominators. I need to make it so that the denominator is 1. So I have to locate the least common multiple. I informed you that in our particular case, the least common multiple will be referred to as the least common denominator. So now we are going to use this abbreviation, you know what I mean? Alright, let us find the least common denominator for the numbers 8 and 4. And you see, when we were finding the least common multiple together, I gave you a lot of ways where we factored and so on, found the common multiple. I provided you a method to do mental math and find the common denominator in an efficient way. This is the approach we are going to employ right now. All right, let me contemplate 8 and 4. Which number is bigger? More, without a doubt, it's 8. I choose the number 8. I pick and check the 8 ball. The number 8 divides by 8. I'll write it down for you. 8 divides by 8. Yep, it divides evenly. 8 divides by 4. Yep, it divides evenly, so it turns out 2. So 8 will be the common denominator. That was the initial step. The second step. So I mentioned that the common denominator, all of it, this denominator 8, you rewrite it at this location. Now what do we do? Step 2. Be careful, y'all. When I divide 8 by 8, I get 1. So I divided it. So the 1 will serve as an additional multiplier for the initial fraction. Go ahead, I divide 8 by 4. I didn't do it for nothing. 8 divided by 4 will be 2. And I'm giving this a 2. Why? Because these additional factors enable us to acquire a denominator that is equal to 8. So 1 times 8 will be 8. 2 times 4 is going to be 8. Everything is great, but if I multiply the denominator by an additional multiplier, then I also multiply the numerator. So I write 5 times 1 plus 3 times 2. This calculation helps me solve problems with accuracy and efficiency. So you ultimately have 5 plus 6, 5. Plus 6 will equal 11/8, and consequently, I obtained the answer 11/8. However, I mentioned that if the fraction is incorrect, you need to separate the whole part, which in this case is 1 whole 3/8. How did I arrive at this conclusion once more? If you don't know how to convert an improper fraction into a mixed number, please check out the lesson where we go over it in detail. In this example, I will write to you in parentheses. If you divide 11 by 8, you'll get 1 whole and a little left over 3. So I end up with a fraction of 1 3/8. So with the help of this algorithm, we'll be adding or subtracting fractions together. Let's consider another example. 3/7 minus 2/5. Just to reiterate, I want to point out that I have different denominators. So I need to make it so that the denominator is 1. I'm noting it. The LCD of the numbers 7 and 5. Do you reckon what the least common denominator is? Remember, I told you that if you see that these numbers are prime, just multiply them together. So I write 7 multiplied by 5, and that will be 35. You see, it's simple for us to find the least common denominator. If you don't get simple or compound numbers, or if you don't know how to find the least common denominator, just multiply these denominators. Multiply and you'll end up with a common denominator. All right, I have a denominator of 35. This is the first step. Step 2, I divide 35 by 7. I am obtaining a result of 5. So you are like truly doing it. You divide 35 by 7 to get the answer. You got 5, so I wrote down this 5. Go ahead, 35. You divide by 5, and we end up with a 7. I am writing down the 7 here. Next. Step 3. I multiply 3 by 5. I'm literally writing 3 times 5, minus 2 times 7. As a consequence, I receive a value of 15 subtracted by 14 and then divided by 35.
So, then you get the fraction of 1/35.
This fraction will be the result of our subtraction. How we'll add or subtract fractions in future lessons. That's all for now. Goodbye until we meet again.